Mark is not here today. He did send his regrets, plans changed since we have a quorum. He decided it wasn't mandatory that he return from wherever he is for the holidays. Can I have an approval of minutes? From the yes, I'm sorry, everybody just got them in the, can we have a minute? And if someone would approve the minutes as written, or discuss if there's something to change.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved, so approved. The major purpose we're here today is discuss and possibly action our committee's recommendation to give to the board on selecting an audit firm for fiscal year 21-22 external audit. We discussed it a little bit last time. It's important because audit firms are in short supply, and with the added work anticipated in the upcoming year for audits, a lot of them are going to have a lot of municipalities will need single audits for federal funding. It's considered prudent to make the selection or start a selection process as soon as possible. And if people would like me to make a couple comments before we start discussion, if they don't mind. One of my questions to the committee members is, do we agree that Martin Starnes has provided quality and timely external audits of the town's financial records for the last 2 years? Yeah?
Yes.
Then, given that and knowing what's coming up this year in terms of auditors' sort of supply-demand, do we agree it's in the town's best interest to contract with Martin Starnes for a third year for the external audit, which will also include a single audit as required due to the federal awards in excess of $750,000?
So would it be 1 year? Is the discussion would be just a 1 year
Just for this,
extension?
well, I think it's actually the typical third year. Agree that we've gotten good service. We always have the option of sending out requests for proposal, but again, given what is happening in the audit situation, municipal audits.
So the initial contract, just a refresher, how many years was that?
3. It's
So this is
that
the
you
third
can-
year of the 3.
Well, you can always stop if you want,
Yeah.
but typically
Okay.
there's 3. Now, whatever was,
But we need to correct that.
Yeah.
It's a
1
one-year
year.
contract,
But-
but the scope that they offered in response
Mhm.
to the RFP
Was
was a
the-
3-year program.
but the 3-year program would not have necessarily included adding a single audit. But again, given the service that they provided, the timeliness, I would say in addition, the excellent working relationship and familiarity that they now have with staff in our books. We know that the contract will have an added expense. Any audit firm that we would contract with is going to have this added expense for the single audit. I personally believe that we would be best to continue with Martin Starnes for this year.
And is there a best practice on how frequently you need to bid external audit? Is that
Unofficially, I've read things about 3 years. There is no law regulation around it. It seems to be more of a good practice to send out an RFP every 3 years. There's nothing that says you can't continue with your existing audit firm if you're satisfied with them, if you think that they do a good job, if they have an unblemished record. But there is a sort of a recommendation
is that in our internal controls, or is that
No.
Institute of Government, or who is it, anybody?
You won't find it published.
Yep,
So
you won't.
You won't find it published in, just by observation. there are some municipalities that have the same auditors for
Mhm.
life, and there are others that just by practice of the governing body choose to, say, well, 3 years is a good time to at least.
Check the waters again.
Yeah, and it may be as much a function of, well, let's just see that the costs are, shepherded by keeping everybody honest. But there's no, and that's nothing more than just a subjective observation on my part.
So is there any disagreement of continuing with Martin Starnes for a third year?
Not for me.
No? Okay, there is a Board of Commissioners meeting tomorrow night, which I would like to present the Audit Committee's recommendation to. So thinking about it, I wrote something that I thought covered what we needed to. I've given you a copy. The Audit Committee recommends retaining the Martin Starnes firm to perform the external audit, including a single audit as required for federal awards in excess of $750,000 for the fiscal year ending 30 June 2022. The Board of Commissioners should authorize the town manager to initiate the contract process with Martin Starnes once LGC instructions on the 2022 audit process and standard contract form are available. My understanding from the town manager is that should be in January. So I'm recommending that, I would like us to recommend that the board just go ahead and authorize the town manager, and that way it doesn't have to come back to anybody until the time that the contract comes. Local Government Commission, they're part of the Department of Treasury, North Carolina Department of Treasury. Any discussion, changes, just sort of rewording, something you think needs to be added?
I'll make that motion, just to get the discussion.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? None? May I have a motion to approve the message to give to the Board of Commissioners tomorrow night? Yeah? Oh, we have a motion second.
That is a motion.
Okay,
Yeah.
all in favor?
Aye.
Passed.
So a question for next year. This runs out, this covers the year of 2022, or is it,
It's for the fiscal year, so
which was what?
so this will be the audit through 30 June 2022 for our fiscal year. Once the audit is completed and submitted, which will be October, November timeframe, that will be the time we will then have a discussion about the following fiscal year. So if we decide at that point, just for keeping everything fresh, we send out an RFP.
That's my question, is when do we as a committee need to start looking at?
We would start in the fall of next year.
This is, just so you understand, this would be the third year.
Yeah.
The last one, yeah. And to your point that you made about a lot of people keep them for a long time, or, some people do an RFP and so forth. The only concern you have with you have somebody for life is at some point they just get used to it and they just start overlooking some things or.
Yeah. Well, and as the town manager also said, is unless you send out an RFP, you're not really aware of relative costs.
And do they make you inside, don't they make the seniors change or something inside the CPA firm, even if you keep it over so many years, the senior, what the senior will be in the CPA firm? They make that principal change so you're not dealing with the same person, even if it's
So
the
you get a
same
fresh
firm.
one.
Yeah.
That's a workaround, I don't know, we
Yeah.
could consider
And
that.
that may be a trade craft
Mhm,
kind of
yeah.
thing. I know that the senior auditor from this firm that has done the audit for the town many years past, actually is not over, so
Mhm.
it's my understanding they have some someone else. That may just be because she's not promoted.
That's kind of a compromise of bringing a fresh set of eyes, but maybe
Yeah.
keeping the overall relationship with someone who's performing well. We could discuss that.
And since part of our responsibility is also keeping track of the audit firms in terms of information available on them, et cetera, again, if there was, if they stay in good standing, and they're doing a good job, and you feel that the cost is acceptable relative to what other qualified audit firms, are charging, there's no reason to change just for change's sake. So, it's just something to keep in mind that we'll be discussing in the second half of next year. Okay. There is no public here to make public comment. I would like to thank all of the members, sorry Mark's not here, for your service in 2021, which was again another difficult year. I would, as any other business, like to mention that the town clerk will be sending a call out for audit committee member submissions, because we will be, of course, picking a new audit committee in January. Remember, we are going to now have 3-year terms, but we want them staggered. So the plan is to have 2 3-year terms, 2 2-year terms, and the alternate I would propose would be a 3-year term. I would be happy if everybody came back, but that's your decision. If you do, and you have a preference for what your term should be, or if you decided I'd like to be an alternate rather than a full member, you can note it on the form that you will have to provide. If you know some other individuals that might want to join, particularly we need an alternate, encourage. But again, I hope everybody wants to come back. It should be pretty straightforward next year, but we can bring added value. And now that everybody's got some familiarity and put some time into it, it'd just be good to keep it going.
Can I ask a question about and I appreciate all the work that went into, I think we did narrow the scope, making this more reasonable committee for sure. The expectations on reviewing the annual audit and providing a written opinion to the Board of Commissioners. Can you kind of expand on that a little so I understand what those expectations might be, a
Well,
written report to the Board of Commissioners?
We gave them a written report last time that I
Okay.
pulled out. I viewed it as give them and the public a written report that provides the information that they're really all interested in, which is sort of fund balance, what's our outstanding debt, are we meeting our debt, was it an unmodified opinion? If it's not an unmodified opinion, it will be what is the issue, addressing, making sure that, yes, the audit committee will confirm with the town manager that it is dealt with. We see the presentation from the auditor first so that we can ask questions.
Does the auditor still make a presentation to the?
Yes, the
Commissioner?
auditor, they have to. They have to. So we're sort of the, or you, not me, are the highly qualified eyes that go into the report and figure out, is this complete, is something not, and then, you've got a board that doesn't have any experience. So pulling out what's really important and flagging anything that would bear watching is what this committee should do. Is that? Do you see anything else that we should do?
No, just wanted to make sure that we weren't asked to do more than we should do, so. that
No,
seems
I
like
tried not
that's
to
okay.
ask us to
Yeah.
do more than I thought we should do.
Okay.
But, the board did appreciate the brief overview that we gave them, and I think that the public did too, because that way, they aren't as prone to listen to rumors. It's all pulled from the report and it's put in front of them of what the situation is. Anybody else with any other business or questions?
I have one.
Yes.
issue. You may recall that the audit identified
Yes.
a low, relatively low quick ratio. Now, when we send the Catherine, it automatically spits out, that analysis occurs instantaneously, and it spits out the identification of the different ratios. And of course, we were, as the auditor presented to this committee and the Board of Commissioners, we were identified as having a quit ratio of 4%. It has declined, and the simple reason is we've spent $4.5–5 million on resiliency measures, lifting the lift stations, elevating the lift stations up. The commissioners are required within 60 days of the audit presentation to them, which occurred at the last meeting in November, to apprise the local government commission that, yes, we are aware of this and what we've done, what we are going to do, or what we've done to remedy that. And so the remedy is, it was a timing issue. We've already fixed it because we've reimbursed ourselves with $2.5 million worth of the bank loan for the lift station upfit. So the letter has been signed, the response to the local government commission has been signed by a couple of commissioners, and we'll get that, the rest of that administration taken care of tomorrow night and forthwith sent to the local government commission. But as we said before, the quick ratio will be reinflated by virtue of us, our loan that closed with the BB&T on October the 4th or something like that. We just did not have it in the books by then. It was post-audit.
Okay. If there's nothing else, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Hope to see you next year.
All right. Thank you.